Good afternoon. Let me see. Am I unmuted?
Yes, sir.
All right. How are you?
So far, so good.
It's been one of those days. I think I was a few seconds late here. Our technology is not good today, but we'll get through it. Well, thank everybody for being here today. We're here to hear, I guess, we'll start with Mr. Marcin, and we'll go from there. So I'll surrender the floor.
I mean, y'all, I was just invited to be here, so I'm guessing I'm like, I got an email requesting.
Okay, well then we'll go to Sinead then.
Yeah.
She requested this meeting and I simply sent the link. And
Perfect.
Okay, so the purpose of the meeting is because a phone call was made to Dr. Lamb regarding my survey and my task, and my professional integrity is in question. I may not be able to continue my internship at East Millbrook, and so everything has come to a halt because of concerns you shared with Dr. Lamb. And so that's why I called this meeting, because I need to move forward with my program. I also need to work in an environment where I'm being supported, like I always thought I had been, up until a phone call was made to Dr. Lamb that Friday evening. So that's why we're having the meeting.
So, I mean, I called Dr. Lamb to make sure that when we met on Monday, that I had a good understanding of the next 80 hours. Because I know you had the list of topics that were going to be discussed or that you would need to receive hours on. And I was calling to say, how does this work? Is this a case where it is, there's a topic and then we are going through each item on that topic, or is it there is instruction and then we are discussing it? So I did call and ask for clarification, and I asked him, I said, I want to make sure that I have a good understanding before we met so that I didn't speak, so that what we were doing was on the same page as Gardner Webb.
So Dr. Lamb, is that the same conversation? Because it sounds a little different from what I heard.
All right, so here is what I wrote my notes. I took notes, as you can see. I take notes, and so here are the notes that I took during the conversation and that I wrote up. Let me see. Let me share my screen. So here are my notes. And this is what I shared with Shania. I received a call on my cell, 7:41 p.m. on Friday, April 29th, from a gentleman who identified himself as Aaron Marcin, principal of East Millbrook Middle School. The call originated from 919-291-3357, lasted 35 minutes until 8:16 p.m. Mr. Marshall relayed numerous concerns about you, your internship in Gardner Webb University Male Principal Licensure Program. Following his list of concerns relayed by Mr. Marshall, Gardner Webb and the MELS program bears partial responsibility for your actions and behaviors which he characterized as inappropriate and a gotcha directed toward him personally. That you sent an inappropriate survey to the faculty without his permission for the purpose of destroying his hard work, improving the North Carolina Teacher Working Conditions Survey results. He mentioned that he had raised scores from the 20s to the 80s and that your actions were an intentional act to embarrass him personally. He feels the amount of work in an accelerating program is influencing you to take shortcuts, such as sending out the unapproved survey. He indicated that you shared the survey with him in the morning, followed up the text at noon, and then sent out the survey in the afternoon before he could get back to you. He feels that the list of summer activities from L603 that you shared with him would place an unreasonable burden on him and his administrative team. He feels that your intention with the sharing of activities was placed work on him instead of you. He questioned why you would need to know about the budget, specifically the Title I program, related that his other intern and previous interns had never asked for this information. He indicated that while he agreed to be your internship supervisor on the ISF form, had met with you and your clinical coach one, and had received the MELS clinical internship site supervisor handbook, he now has reservations about your clinical internship continuing and would like to meet with you on Monday, May 2nd. I shared the following with Mr. Marcin. The survey is part of the APTEL, which is based on the work of Todd Whitaker and the Teacher Working Conditions Survey, School Leadership Section. This is a North Carolina blueprint for MSA Principal Preparation Programs. You are in an accelerated one-year program, and sometimes students get behind. This could contribute to student behaviors, but not in all cases. In this case, Dr. Stedman's helpful hints document expressly requires students to get principal permission to send out their surveys. The 603 activities and materials needed for your next evidence, the OMA, again are derived from the North Carolina blueprint for MSA Principal Preparation Programs. I have that blueprint today, by the way. The evidence is a part of the required electronic portfolio, again derived from the North Carolina blueprint for MSA Principal Preparations. After Mr. Marcin's called, I called Dr. Stedman, your 601 instruction, and asked that he contact you the next day on April 30th and relay these concerns to you. Dr. Stedman and I are available to meet with you or Mr. Marcin at your convenience. And so I will now share the blueprint or the scale handbook, which has the North Carolina blueprint in it, and it has all the different things that we have, all the things that you're requested to gather together for your evidences, your next evidence. Your previous evidence, the APSEL required you to do a survey to find out about empowerment in your building. The candidate will conduct a literature review, and then candidates will describe data collection methodologies where you, and this is where you did that, and then you developed a growth plan. All these are, this is the state grading rubric for all these activities. Here are the things you're going to do this summer in the OMA, all the things that you have to gather together. It says specifically district, state, federal law, rules, procedures, strongly encouraged to include all programs for exceptional learners, diversity, special needs populations. That's why you have to ask about Title I, EC, intervention team, all of those things that you have to ask. Again, this is the state blueprint for what you have to do. And you're going to have to revisit that APTEL survey again later in the semester when you are required again by the state blueprint to audit these areas of the teacher working conditions survey. You're in task 1, you will have to, the candidate will lead team conduct an organization analysis and determine the climate of school. Teacher working conditions survey is used, and you will have to evaluate school leadership. So you will have to do an evaluation of both teacher and school leadership, again, from the TWC. Again, it'll be a survey that will be done this summer. That will have to be done again. And then in the fall, again, these are constant themes. In the fall, you will have to do, let's see, right here. Candidates, right here. You're going to have to do empowerment again, leadership, facilities, resources, and time. Those are the 5 required by the State Board of Education in the MSA blueprint. Again, you have to do those again. So there's going to continue to be surveys related to the teacher working conditions survey. That's a big piece of the state blueprint. They have to assess those very same questions asked. And I went back and checked the survey that was sent out. It was questions straight from the teacher working conditions survey. The activities, again, link back to the OMA this summer. So we give them a heads up on the activities because of the closing out of school and then school not being in session. We give them those before the semester is over and say, plan ahead. Get with your administrator, as I guess that's what that meeting was. Here are the things that you're going to have to pull together this summer. You need to get a plan together. Don't wait until it's testing time, closing out school time, and vacation time to start looking for these things. These are the things that you're going to have before August as we go through the summer session. And so to that end, Let me pull that document up. I had it up. I had a momentary issue there. And so here are the things that she has to do this summer: locate copies of school's crisis emergency plan, assess those plans, examine a district field trip policy, financial, observe a disciplinary due process in your school, report what you learned, interview an AP or other disciplinarian about due process, examine a school or district policy on bullying or cyberbullying, examine a district policy on harassment, attend an IEP meeting, interview the chair of your school intervention team, interview a school-based administrator concerning HR hiring practices, interview a district-based administrator concerning employee assistance, find a copy of your local budget. Does it contain federal, state, local, and school funds? Interview a school-based administrator concerning budgeting and school fundraising. Those are, again, those all link back to the state blueprint on what they have to pull together in order to meet that electronic, again, understanding that they have to build an electronic portfolio, share screen, in TaskStream. And this is what that this is where they submit their state portfolio. Now we do pre-grading at Gardner Webb. We grade it, we hire state assessors and they grade it as they go. So let me go into that one from fall of 21. This is the DRF that goes to the state for licensure to the Department of Public Instruction. And so as you can gonna see just in a minute here we go. That's not the one I want.
So, Mr. Lamb, I think all of this is fine.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to the conversation you and I had that Friday evening, because what you read is partially what you and I were discussing, but some of those statements are not what I said at all. Some of those statements are incorrect, like where it said something about personally, that is not where that came from. What I said to you is that after Ms. Carr showed me the assignment that she turned in, I wrote an email to her saying, I'm looking forward to seeing the assignment, and that I was looking forward to I wanted her to create a plan for, well, how could we respond to some of those statements that came out during the survey? That was my email back to Ms. Carr after she turned it in. What I said to you was, Ms. Carr wrote me back and said she hoped that I didn't take the information personally. I did not state in any way, shape, or form that I believed it was personal against me. I feel the exact opposite. I think she did the assignment as it was asked. I used that word in my conversation with you, but the way that you wrote that is incorrect and false. That is not what I said. I don't think, if you pull that thing up, the words shortcut, I did not say. I said, I feel it is at a disadvantage to the students if they are not receiving instruction on these topics. My conversation with you was, I wanted to make sure that Ms. Carr was being supported because I did not feel it was my job to teach her all those things. I did say that. I said that, and honestly, what you're doing right now is you're trying to justify, it seems to me like you are trying to justify these things with all the rubrics and all the demands and all the recordings. I did not say that I thought Ms. Carr was trying to take a shortcut. Those were not my statements. I called you to say, I need to have a good understanding so that I can best support her. If I don't know what information you're providing to them, how can I support her? I can't. You wrote something in there about like the Title I. That is not, again, not what I said. I said when we were looking at the preliminary list, Ms. Carr said one of her tasks or assignments as given to her by Gardner Webb was to interview the principal. And I'm going to try, Ms. Carr, to remember your words, but I tell people all the time, I don't quote people because the question was something like, how do we utilize federal funds for X, Y, and Z? And I said to you, Mr. Lamb, I have no idea what that means. And so therefore, I'm not going to be able to give her that information. You said, well, it's in the principal blah, A, B, C, and D. And I said to you, I have had 3 to 4 interns in the past. That has never been asked of me before. So, sir, I am very flabbergasted by what you wrote, because what you wrote is not what I said. What you're doing today, right now, you're pulling up these. I just wanted to ensure that your university was providing instruction, and because I can't teach if I don't understand the questions that are being asked of me, I can't answer them. I said to you, Ms. Carr and I were planning to meet to go over these things that she has to do for the summer. And I said, I am not sure that this is going to be able to be done. If I can't give her the answer, she's not going to be successful. What you wrote in that letter is not what I did share my frustration with the timeline. Absolutely. I 100% did. But my conversation with you was not, I don't think Ms. Carr is doing her job. It was not, you said during that conversation, something to the effect of, and again, don't quote me, well, this program isn't for everybody. Mm-hmm. And it's too much for some people. And I said, I don't think that's the case. I said that. But those were your words, sir. They were not mine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But now what I've got here is each week we cover all we cover all these things. We do teach them the content before they go out and do these things. We gave them a pre-list so that they could be planning when they can do those things. But you can see, we teach them each week. We come on live and do a session where we teach all of those things. And so that was the issue, is we will teach her those things that that she needs to know.
Right.
We will do those things. This will be a class shell. This is one I just had. This is the one that she'll be in this summer. And you will see that we give them prior warning of, let's see, let me go to this one. Yeah. And so they have a weekly schedule of what they will have to do each week. And the topics are cut. And now we tell them we cover the material and then you go do it. And so you can see here are those same activities. Here are the reading that they are to do to support it from the principal law book and from their resource book. They do this. Now it's due the following week. So they get instruction on how to do these prior to. The analogy that I use with them is we're not Willie Nelson sings behind the beat. We sing before the beat. That means we have the instruction before you go out and do these activities, but you can see each week what they will have to do.
Right.
Now,
Sir, again, I'm just gonna say this to you. Whatever that letter was that you pulled up, you can delete my name off that, because I think it's unprofessional that you sent that to Ms. Carr without confirming, did I record this all correctly? Because those statements are not true. No wonder Ms. Carr is upset, because those statements, that is not what I said.
So let's get to kind of the crux here.
Right.
The survey that was sent out. Now she says she has permission to send the survey out. Now your complaint to me was that, again, that she had shared it with you in the morning, that she texted you at lunch and then sent it out that afternoon before you gave her approval to send it out. Did I get that part right?
I said that I had received an email in the morning, then I received a text later in the day, and then and she says, well, I went ahead and sent it out. And I said, okay, what's done, it's done. Like we can't go back in time and undo it.
No, Mr. Marcin. So you don't remember me coming to you. So I come to you every morning and I asked you, do we have anything in-house that I can use as a teacher working condition survey about teacher leadership and empowerment? And you said, ask artists. I also asked about a walkthrough document because I had to do walkthroughs and I invited you to participate. So we had that conversation. I went to artists. He said, well, I don't know why he sent you to me. I just got equity. And I asked you also about CRT and where it came from. Is there any data that supports that? So we had that conversation already. I told you I would be sending out a survey. He said, okay. In the midst of that, yes, it was time for me to send out my survey. And I sent you an email. You responded, we're good to go. And so you already knew that I was going to be sending out a survey prior to this. That's why I come to you and I try to talk to you about the things I have going on. I wanted you to participate in the walkthroughs. If you had time, I said that. Howard came with me and Ed came with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that way I can have a different lens. I even asked artists because I wanted to hear different perspectives. So I'm not trying to get anybody. I'm not trying to do it the wrong way. I'm just trying to get my work done so I can move on with my career and provide for my kids. I don't understand any of this. I sat down with you. I tried to meet with you. I told you in the morning, it's just too busy. That same Friday, to give you a heads up on the assignments and the things that I would have to be pulling, you said to me, okay, put it in a Google Doc and I'll fill in the names of the people that you need to talk to in order to pull that information and we'll meet on Monday. And I don't understand. I told you, we hadn't even started the class yet. And yes, I responded to your email about the survey because again, I don't want you to take anything personally. You and I have always had a decent relationship. I don't understand why I feel like I'm being sabotaged. Like I did something to you directly to hurt you. That's not my style. I just want to pass my classes. Yeah. That's it. And I'm trying to learn the job.
You're right. Honestly, when I read what was reported to you, I would feel the same way as you do.
I'm not trying to make more work for anyone.
No, but again, I did tell him, Mr. Lamb, I said, if this comes to me and there's not background and information, it does become more work for me. I did say that. So I was trying to confirm and affirm that that the tasks were there was instruction provided before the task. But
and Dr. Lamb, all I did, I went to the video for week 14. I listened to the things that you said. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. And then I just had a list. We didn't even get to meet that day because I had another meeting scheduled at that time. So I said things like the budget, and I went through the example that we have. And I saw in the example, person had about Title I. So I just went off of what I saw in that example. and just gave him an idea of some of the things that I might need. I didn't even get through the entire list. And so we were going to meet on Monday, which didn't happen. And then I got the call on Saturday.
Right. And like that third bullet on that thing, that you wrote, he feels the amount of work in the accelerated program is influencing you. That is not what I said at all.
Was the survey unapproved?
When we talked, what I remember us talking about was the walkthrough instrument. And I did say, the Ed Barnes has, and the coaching team had created our the walkthrough instrument. And when we were talking about doing a walkthrough, and she's absolutely correct. She asked me about this walkthrough instrument, and I said yes. Maybe I did not hear her, but I will tell you, when the topic was teacher empowerment, that was a surprise because I knew she was doing the walkthrough. I remembered all of that. I remember having conversations around that.
The APTEL is all about teacher empowerment and leadership. And so that was that part of that semester.
Yep.
There's two functions there.
And I have
the walkthrough for classroom empowerment, and then there's the Whitaker survey for school-wide empowerment that mirrors the section from the teacher working conditions survey. And so the issue is they have to send out a survey. And that's what I wrote down here.
And I used the Todd Whitaker because we didn't have one in-house.
Right, exactly. And that's the default one because it lines with the teacher working conditions survey from the state. And so the issue here is, was there permission to send the survey? I mean,
I have the email.
Kind of the crux of all of this is if there wasn't permission, or she got permission, but you say that so that therein, once we can clear this up, I think we can move on through this, because I'm interested in her having a good experience. I'm interested in her learning. I'm interested in her being able to complete that portfolio of these activities, not just the clinical hours. She has to complete this portfolio. Otherwise, her time with us will not have been well spent and money well spent, because we've got to get her a license at the end of this process. The only way to do that, she has these required activities in her portfolio. Now,
I just am going to go back to this. What is written on this paper is not the conversation. That is not what those were not the things I said to you. So the only thing that I said that I would say would have been was I said that I did make a request to get the project sent to me and a response, like how could we handle that as a result, and I did not receive those two things from Ms. Carr. That is the, but I don't even know that you even wrote that down. Is that in there?
That again, I wrote down
because my if there was criticism at all that day on the phone, it was of the program, not of Ms. Carr. And but I shared that with you. I said,
oh yeah, well that's what I started with, as you can
right.
see.
And then that's when
the MELS program bears partial. You said partial for your actions, behaviors he characterized as inappropriate and a gotcha. And the 20s to the 80s on the teacher working conditions survey. That is now an unapproved survey, indicated you shared the survey with him in the morning, followed up with a text, and sent the survey before he could get back to you. Unreasonable burden on him and his administrative team from the list of activities. Why you would need to know about the budget, specifically Title I. And so these were the things that I shared with you as a result of that. And so my notes are as accurate as I wrote them down and wrote this up immediately afterwards. I don't record calls, but these are the things that I wrote down. I stand by them. I took notes and I wrote them and sent them and transcribed them into this document. But the bigger issue is can you still work with this student to get her work done to complete her state portfolio? That's the issue.
And
Whether
what
you and I agree or disagree, the state has to agree that she has done the work in that task stream portfolio when it is submitted. There, she's in the last group that does not take an exam. They submit this portfolio. That will change August 1st. But in lieu of the exam, the praxis, or the former state exam, they have to submit a demonstration portfolio that is graded, and it has to have this set of activities in it. And for the purposes of what we're talking about today, she has to have access and has to be able to do these activities in order to do these evidences that are on a state rubric. We don't choose any of these things. Now you could say, well, y'all don't do a good job teaching. That's perfectly legitimate complaint. Now we cover all of these in a weekly manner with them online. As you can see in the Blackboard shell, all the materials are there for them, and then we work with them to give them instruction on what to do. They have notes and complete notes on how to write an evidence, what to do, helpful hints, those kinds of things along the way.
right.
And so
Look, I do not have an issue. If I had an issue, if I did not feel I could not work with Ms. Carr, I could have that conversation with her one-on-one. Again, I'm going back to this. The purpose of that call with you was to ensure that I was not responsible for teaching all of those things that were on that long list, because that was going to be challenging. I was not going to be able to teach all of those things to someone. And so I needed to best understand that what is the expectation of Gardner-Webb. At this point, though, I'm good with Carr, but what I'm not good with this paper. I'm not good with you. I mean, these things are not true. But not only did you, like, my concern now is statements are written on here that are not true of me. They are not my beliefs. Like, the first two, I mean, because I can see them on your screen. Those are not the case. So who do I go to at Gardner-Webb to discuss this? Because this is concerning to me that you put my name in here and you wrote things that those are not what I said.
well, I would guess
you have characterized me in a way that is not. I shared a concern, which I just said, my one and only concern was that I made a request of Ms. Carr for 2 items and I did not get them. She did not send them to me. Those were the 2 concerns that I had of Ms. Carr. The rest of this, not true. And Shania knows this about me. I am transparent and honest. Like, I'm going to say to you in front of her or her in front of you, 100%. I'm not trying to hide behind. I was frustrated with the request to receive 2 things that I didn't receive. I had questions about the rest. So who is the person I reach out to, sir?
well, I'm the program coordinator, and so the next person up the line would be the dean.
Okay. Who is the dean at Gardner-Webb?
Prince Bull. I will send you his information.
All right. I appreciate that.
Do that. All right. So
So
be
I'm
more
good. I mean,
importantly,
Miss Carr is going to be able to finish her program. She is going to do a great job. That
Great.
won't be an issue.
be great. And that's the important piece for me. All right. Okay. And so I will get that off my screen. Okay. Okay.
My email is there you go. It's T instead of A, but thank you.
And I will attach my letter. There's the letter. There is his name. I will.
That'll be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Send that to you right now. There we go.
All right. Well, we will ensure that Ms. Carr has what she needs to be successful.
All right. Sinead, what else can I do for you today? All right. Well, thank you both for joining me today. I will process this video and I will send the video to the same addresses as well.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.